The RedRock Pocket Style Flares that we have here today for the 09 to 14 F150 will be one of your most affordable ways to provide just over 2 inches of additional coverage to help hide a wider wheel or lower offset, or just make for a more aggressive look overall. Now the kit does include a set of 4 flares altogether, along with your hardware and your rivets, all for right around that low $300 price point. But why go with a flare like this in the first place? Well, I would say 2 reasons. Either you really just like the look of a flare on your rig, or you might need to cover up some tire poke thanks to a wider wheel or a lower offset. Listen guys, I'm a big fan of a little bit of tire poke with my personal trucks, but the reality is some local laws mandate that the tires are covered at all times, and if they aren't, well, you could either fail inspection or get hassled by your local authorities, neither of which is very fun. On top of that, uncovered tires on a lower offset wheel setup can result in a very dirty truck very quickly, as driving through the smallest mud puddle or puddle in general will just fling water, mud, rocks, dirt, whatever down the side of your truck, scratching it up in the process. Trust me, I know. Now obviously, some people at the end of the day might not mind this because, hey, it's a truck, maybe it's supposed to get dirty, but if you're on the other side of the fence there and you don't enjoy washing your truck every day, you prefer to keep it clean, well then adding a flare like this certainly makes a lot of sense. Now these particular flares will give you just over 2 inches of additional coverage once installed for both the front and rear wheel wells of your rig, and that's gonna help keep your truck a little bit cleaner while also making for that more aggressive look, and all really for a price that's hard to beat when compared to some of your other options currently on the site. Now, aside from that tougher look, interested F-150 owners can also look forward to a very tough build here. In fact, you got that poly build, which is very thick, very durable, and then it's finished off in kind of a smooth matte or satin black finish, which is paintable, by the way. So if you didn't want to go with the big color contrast of, like, say, a red and black or a white and black, well, you could always have these things prepped and sprayed the same color as your truck for a more consistent look. Now again, these are the Pocket Style Flare here, guys, meaning they do feature that kind of bolted on or riveted on look, thanks to the included hardware, which some owners really dig. Others maybe prefer more of a clean or smooth flare. And listen guys, if you're not a big fan of the Pocket Style Flares, you have other options here on the site, including a few smooth options that I definitely encourage you to check out before ultimately making your final decision. But what do you say we switch gears here? Well, let's switch gears and get into the install. And as pointed out earlier, you can expect a pretty solid 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter and about 3 hours or so to get everything knocked out from start to finish. But to give you a better idea of just what to expect on your truck at home, here is an American Trucks customer to walk you through the job now.
So here's the minimum number of tools you need to do this project. You can do it without the drill. You will need a 1/4 inch drill bit, which I also have. So right there. You only have to drill 1 hole, not bad. And if you have a short-handled screwdriver, that'll make it easier to get in where around the tires. This is not a short-handled screwdriver. This would be a screwdriver where it's only about that long. You don't have to have it, but it'd make it easier. This is a 7/32 for the front fender and a 10mm for the back. Do not ask me why Ford mixes it. And a pocket knife or scissors would work for cutting the rubber trim. So everything else is simple. Oh, and this comes with the kit. This comes with the kit. So make sure you put a washer, and they don't give you too many spares or any, so make sure you only put 1 washer. And then the bolt goes on the back side. I'll show you that in a second. You just start it. It's a keeper nut. So you just put that on like that. What I did is I did all of them finger tight, and then I went back and tightened them with a wrench here, and they give you the tool for this here. I think that's just quicker than doing them one at a time. So my socket set is not at this location, so I'm using wrench. If you have a socket set, it's easier. Also, if you have a torque wrench that has an adjustment on it, don't over tighten it. You hear that? Let it come to that torque. I've got it mine set on 8, it's a Bosch, but you know, you just need to get it snug. It has keepers on it that will hold it on. You don't need to over tighten it to where you break the plastic. So to get it started, you start 1 inch or so and you get it right here on the edge. And what I did, I just pulled it with my finger a little bit, and I just kept pulling it with my finger and pressing down. So you can sort of, if you don't get it, you can actually get it underneath. If you don't pull it all the way, you can actually get it underneath and it'll still come out. The covering is pretty slick. And what you're also doing is you're kind of pressing it like this to get it to stick. So it has trouble around some of the curves, so you have to keep going back and checking those while you're doing it. But it's not hard, you just have to use a little patience, you know. So also when you're putting it on, you want to push it down like these fingers are. You don't want to pull it, you don't want to stretch it, because as your temperature changes during the day and everything, if you stretch it, it's going to try to come back, and this rubber will, the glue on the rubber will hold it on, but it's not going to hold against changes in temperature and tension from that. So just push it straight down, don't try to stretch it, and you'll be fine. To the end, you just trim off the edge. I'm using a pocket knife, and I would say trim a little bit long, you know, and see how it fits. Particularly look at it right there. Oh, see, I tried to go a little bit long and it was about dead even. So don't go too short. Make sure you go a little bit long. Press it together. And then I go back and press everything together all along it. Press it down and press it together so that it sticks really good. Just go back over everything. And then you're done. So here's the prep work you have to do before installation. If you're not painting, the first step is these bolts and the edge trim. The edge trim is this. It has a sticky backing which goes to the inside. That's very important. So it goes to this side. It tells you to put the edging on first, but I had a little trouble dealing with the edging and it moving around while I was working with the bolts. So for the second one, I'm going to do the bolts first and see how that works. So the next part of the instructions are to remove 3 screws. I'm starting on the passenger side. The instructions show the driver's side, so I thought this would give you some more information. There are more than those 3 under here. There's one that you actually need to remove. You don't remove that one. Then there's the next one around, coming counterclockwise, is that one, which is already out. You can see the white paint. And the last one is this one, which is toward the rear. You can see my step guard. So now I have that little mud splash. I'm trying to leave that on. That's actually glued on and then held with 2 screws. I'm planning on leaving that on and we'll see how that goes. Then you have to put this clip in. See if I can get it. There. So that clip, and you can see I've lined it up with the hole already. So far, this is the most unclear in the instructions. You have this trim piece marked front right, and you have a new screw that you're going to use through the hole my finger's in the back of, and you're going to use the holes that were already, the screws that were already in your truck on this one and this one. So hold it like this, sitting above your tire, and then lift it up, and you'll line up those holes and put the screw in. I'll show that in a second. So there's the screw. It's still in loose because you need to now put the factory screws in, and that's how it looks underneath your truck. Sort of camera inside the wheel well looking back out. So I drilled the hole, and unless you have an extremely short drill and bit, you're gonna need to turn your wheel all the way to the left for the passenger side, and of course all the way to the right for the driver's side. Next step is to put that screw back in, which was the one that originally came with your truck, with the fender flare on. Push up, make sure you get that into the groove like it's supposed to be. Make sure that's aligned when you tighten. If you don't get it, it's no problem. Just loosen the screw, adjust, push up, whatever you need to do, pull down, retighten. So now it's time for the back. There's the pre-assembled version. First thing you do is take 10mm bolts out of this. Oh, that's gonna look upside down to you, but that's where they come out. There's one on each side. Again, I'm on the passenger side because the instructions follow the driver's side. So then you start putting these sticky things on. I cleaned this first. I think this just protects your paint, you know, the sticky thing underneath the clip. And that's how those go on. That's how, here's another one out of focus. And then I've got my mark here and my mark there. And you put those on. Pretty simple. I pre-folded mine like this so that they'll go better, and then I put the clip on immediately. I do think if you don't clean it, it'll still work. It's just, you know, it'll stick better and gives me peace of mind. So this is that clip, and you want the flat side out. The screws go through and hold to that indentation, so you want the flat side out. So it goes under and your screw goes through this flat side first. So now all my clips are in. Remember, flat side out, screw goes this way. These are intended to give some adjustment, so as you tighten them down, they'll tighten up, but you can move them a little bit so that you can get your fender well fitting very snug. You do these top two first, according to the instructions, and then you work down on the sides, keeping them all loose at first, get it like you like it, and then start tightening them down. So now it's installed. So the back one in this slot right here uses the one that came with your truck. Up in here, you can't see it, but I took a photo of it from inside back out in the previous video. And then the last one that came with your truck, it's right there. So in general, this one was much easier and quicker. So a couple of things, just check this every now and then. There is a tool, if you get this squeezed in between the truck, they brought a tool where you can pull that out. I'd throw that tool in the glove box in case it ever happens in a car wash or something. I doubt it. And then you've got some adjustment. I'd also say these clips can turn, so when you're tightening them down, you might have to hold your finger back here like I am and make sure it's not flipping down against the truck or whatever, and that it's staying perpendicular. I had this one turn. Most of my others didn't. This one might have been because the tire is so tight. I'm using a longer screwdriver. If you have a short screwdriver or a 9-degree angle for your nut driver, that will help you get to this one and the front one that's in the same position, the lowest one, a little bit better, but not that bad. Not absolutely necessary, just a little bit more time and patience.
But wrapping things up here, guys, if you are looking to cover a wider wheel or lower offset or a combination of both, or maybe just dig the look of flares in general, be sure to check out this set from RedRock 4x4 right here at AmericanTrucks.com.